In 2023, Amazon crossed a number that used to sound like science fiction: 750,000 robots working inside its warehouses. That number is already out of date. By 2025, it had passed 1 million, and Amazon still employs 1.5 million human beings to do the job. That's not a rounding error. That's the single largest private workforce in the United States, working side by side with the largest robot fleet on Earth. Every other warehouse operator on the planet is watching this company to answer one question: how close can you actually get to a warehouse with no people in it? The answer Amazon has landed on is stranger than close or far. It's a number, a deadline, and a technical wall nobody's fully solved yet. This started in 2012, when Amazon bought a small robotics company called Kiva Systems for $775 million. Kiva's idea was simple. Instead of sending a person walking through aisles to find a product, send the entire shelf to the person. Orange robots, about knee height, slide under portable shelving units and carry the whole shelf to a human standing at a station. That single idea is still the backbone of Amazon's warehouses today. But the fleet didn't stop there. In 2019, Amazon introduced Proteus, the first fully autonomous mobile robot in its fleet, meaning it doesn't need a caged-off zone to operate. It can navigate around actual people on the warehouse floor, sensing and rerouting in real time. Then came Sparrow, a robotic arm with computer vision that can identify and pick individual items, not shelves, single products, out of bins. Then Sequoia, a system that restructured how inventory gets stored and staged, cutting the time it takes to process an order by up to 25%, according to Amazon's own operations data. Each of these machines solved a specific, narrow problem. None of them, on their own, was built to replace a person. They were built to replace a task. But if you stack 1 million of these machines on top of each other, something strange happens to the humans still standing in that building. And Amazon's own numbers tell you exactly what. In 2016, the average Amazon warehouse employed close to 1,000 people, and each worker handled around 175 packages a year. By 2025, the average warehouse was down to roughly 670 workers, the lowest headcount per building in 16 years, and each of those workers was now moving almost 3,870 packages a year. That's not a small efficiency gain. That's a 22-fold jump in output per person in under a decade. Here's what makes that number strange. The robots aren't just making existing jobs faster. They're making entire categories of jobs disappear from the floor while making the humans who remain dramatically more productive. At one heavily automated fulfillment center, reporting has found that out of roughly 2,500 employees, only about 100 of them work directly with the robots, monitoring, maintaining, troubleshooting. The other 2,400 are doing something else entirely, the parts of the job the robots still can't touch. Which raises the real question. If a robot can move a shelf, pick a product, and route a package faster than any human, what exactly is left for 2,400 people to do? The answer sits inside a problem robotics engineers have been fighting for over a decade, and it isn't about strength or speed. It's about touch. A warehouse shelf isn't full of identical boxes. It's a chaotic mix. A soft bag of dog food next to a glass jar next to a plastic-wrapped shirt next to a loose cable. For a robotic arm, reaching into that mess and pulling out exactly one item without crushing it, dropping it, or grabbing the wrong one is one of the hardest unsolved problems in applied robotics. Humans do it without thinking. Machines, until very recently, mostly couldn't. In 2025, Amazon unveiled its answer: a robot called Vulcan, the company's first machine built with an actual sense of touch. Vulcan doesn't just see an item with a camera, It can feel when and how it makes contact, adjusting its grip in real time the way a human hand instinctively does. It's a genuine engineering leap. It's also, by Amazon's own framing, a robot designed to take on the boring stuff. Not to replace the worker standing next to it, but to hand that worker fewer repetitive picks and more of the judgment calls a machine still can't make. Spotting a damaged item, handling an oddly shaped return, catching an error a sensor missed. That's the wall. Not a wall of speed. A wall of dexterity and judgment. The two things that are still, as of 2026, cheaper and more reliable to get from a human hand than from a robotic one. But Amazon isn't treating that wall as permanent. Internal company documents obtained by reporters in October 2025 laid out exactly how far they think it's going to move. And the number attached to it is the most controversial part of this entire story. According to a New York Times report published in October 2025, based on internal Amazon planning documents, the company is targeting the automation of roughly 75% of its operations by 2027. The same documents reportedly project that robotics and AI could allow Amazon to avoid hiring more than 600,000 people it would otherwise have needed by 2033, even as the company's overall sales and its total headcount keep growing. That distinction matters, and it's the part that gets lost in every headline about it. This isn't necessarily 600,000 people losing their jobs tomorrow. It's 600,000 jobs that may simply never get created, absorbed instead by a shrinking ratio of workers per warehouse as automation scales. Amazon, for its part, states it has retrained more than 700,000 employees into new roles working alongside robots rather than being displaced by them. Technician roles, quality control, exception handling, the categories machines still can't fully own. Whether that retraining keeps pace with 600,000 avoided jobs is the exact question labor economists, warehouse workers, and Amazon's own executives are still arguing about. Nobody outside that internal planning room knows the real answer yet. What we do know is the pace. The company added roughly 250,000 robots between 2023 and 2025 alone. If that pace holds, the next million robots arrive faster than the first one did. So here's the actual answer to why a company with over 1 million robots still employs 1.5 million people. It isn't sentiment, and it isn't a temporary gap waiting to close on its own. It's two separate limits stacking on top of each other. The technical limit, even Amazon's most advanced robot, built specifically to solve the dexterity problem, still can't reliably do what a human hand does without thinking. And the economic limit? It's currently cheaper, at scale, to retrain a person for judgment-based work than to engineer a machine that can replace that judgment entirely. Full automation of a warehouse isn't a switch Amazon hasn't flipped yet. It's a wall they're still building the tools to climb. One robot, one sense of touch, one narrow task at a time. What's happening inside Amazon's warehouses isn't unique to Amazon. It's the clearest visible version of something happening quietly across manufacturing, shipping, and industrial work everywhere. Systems getting rebuilt piece by piece, task by task, long before anyone's ready to call it finished. Most of it never makes headlines, because it doesn't happen all at once. It happens in the parts of the system nobody's watching. That's the hidden layer Corewire exists to look at. If a single warehouse can hide this many moving parts, imagine what's hiding inside the systems that ship it, insure it, and pay for it. That's next.